Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today is Wednesday, and it's time for another episode of the Noon Report. And I am your host, Dr. Ron. Tell you, got a good one today. Got a good lineup of stuff to rant and rave about. I'm glad you're here to hear all about it. The first thing I like to do every time I go live, I have to give my mentor a shout out. Dr. Hunt. Dr. Hunt and I have been traveling in life together for 30 plus years. And out of that 30 plus years, he has been a blessing to both me and my family, as well as I have been a blessing to him and his family. So I always give him a shout out because it's so important for you guys to understand that a mentor are valuable. They're invaluable. You definitely want to have one, someone that can help you when your times are rough and when your times are good. They help navigate through life. So I encourage you to get a mentor. And then I encourage you to get a show so you can shout your mentor out. So I'm so excited about today. I want to talk about some of the things that's going on in the world as always. Let's talk about this book that's hitting the airwaves. They've been doing a book tour. The young lady, Miss Cassidy Hutchinson, she testified at the Senate committee on January 6th. And her testimony kind of paved the way of the temperament of Trump during the last days of the presidency. Now, she talked about a lot of information that we normally would not have heard about by her being a staffer and an insider. And I tell you, it was interesting when the young lady went before the committee. Trump's answer was, I don't even know who she is. I don't even know her name. So she's walking around the White House, taking care of White House business, and he don't even know who she is. And people believed it. Okay. Well, her book came out and emphasized, now get this, emphasized the lawlessness that was going on inside the White House during the last days. Now, I'm not endorsing that you go out and get the book, but it's something to think about when you have a guy named Donald Trump who's running for president again with all of his lawlessness that he performed the first time. Now he's ready to go back and try and finish the job by completely ruining the United States. He came close to bankrupting us, but there's no government in the country, in the world, that was on the verge of bankrupt more than the United States. And still, because the damage that he performed is continuously ongoing. So Cassidy Hutchinson, she came through with a book that they've been talking about on Fox, they've been talking about on CNN, and what she saw and observed. Speaking of lawlessness, Clarence Thomas and other justices that were, you know, being sent all around the world on world cruises, on airplanes, and things of that nature, and not filing it in their taxes because they say, well, we don't have to. It's not something we have to talk about. We're not going to talk about. So why are you asking us about it now? And the people that they have helped and people that have helped them, because they're justices, they're above the law. Now, I was having a conversation with Lee on yesterday, and we talked about this. They said, well, what can they do? Because the justices, there's no rules and regulations to come down on them. Well, I said, when the founding fathers created the justices, the Justice Division of Government, there were no cruises, there were no airplanes, there were no resorts. So this was something that the founding fathers could not have anticipated this far in the future, corrupting the judicial system. Now, we got three forms of government. the executive, the judicial, and the legislative. And basically, in the United States, all three of them are corrupt. I mean, we have not a form of this government that does not need to be revamped and straightened out. Yeah, I said it. Okay. So now you can have somebody come after me. Yes. Now, McCarthy, interesting, talking about the government some more. McCarthy is on the verge of losing his second major battle with the Democratic process by the Republicans being in power in the House, and he doesn't have control over them. These people that are far right and right are so far out of control that he cannot even get a budget passed. He's trying to stack stuff on top of the budget that people are not willing to go along with. And he's got a 4-vote margin in the House in order to be able to get a budget through. Now, trying to keep the government from failing, they have a bipartisan bill that came out of the Senate that they sent over to the House, hoping that they would grab hold to it and say, hey, come on, let's get this thing done so that the government does not have to shut down. The government should not have to shut down. If these people do the job that they were voted to do into office, then why is the government shutting down? Why are the bills not getting paid? And that's one of the problems that people have, not understanding that we put them in office so they can screw over us. Hello? They ain't doing their job. They need to be about the business of the people, not about the party. Okay? And I applaud the Senate for at least giving them something to look at, to say, hey, come on, maybe we can, save this. We only got 2-3 more days before the government's going to have to shut down. And to prove what? You in a pissing contest with who? Come on now. Let's get this thing done. Speaking of pissing contests, Jim Jordan, the Ohio representative, he's from Ohio, came to Chicago to piss all over the Democratic form of government here in Chicago, talking about how crime is all outrageous, how Kim Foxx don't know what she's doing. They just put in this new safety act in Chicago, and now everybody's upset about it. The Republicans are taking it an opportunity to try and politics over what's going on in Chicago and capitalize off of the activities that's been going on in Chicago. Yeah, Chicago has got an outrageous crime rate right now and has had one for a while, but so is everybody else. New York, California, Texas, even Ohio has got an outrageous crime rate. So you sitting up picking on Chicago right now by taking your judicial committee on the road to try and do a showboating like, well, we're going to go to Chicago and other places where crime is out of control. For what purpose? You cannot accomplish a thing in Chicago. You have no jurisdiction. The only people that invited you here or allowed you to come here are the most racist organization in the city of Chicago, which is the Chicago Police Union. They house this whole spectacle at the police union headquarters. One of the most racist, I'm going to say it again, one of the most racist, corrupt organizations in the city of Chicago. They also, just for the record, hosted DeSantis when he came here, the governor from Florida, to campaign before he even announced that he was going to run for president. They welcomed him into Chicago and hosted him in Chicago for a Republican candidate. Tell you something right there. Not only are they racist, they stupid. Okay. Jim Jordan is capitalizing off of the passion of people that have lost loved ones in the city of Chicago. It is terrible how he is capitalizing off of their pain and passion. I said enough. He's from Ohio. Who else needs to talk about Ohio? Nobody. Now, let's talk about the civil suit that Hunter Biden has filed against the IRS and against Rudy Giuliani. Now, I'm applauding him because he is finally beginning to stand up and speak for himself. For those that don't know, Hunter Biden has never, ever held public office. His dad was vice president, and what they raising hell about right now is the fact that he took advantage of the fact that his dad was vice president and he made some money. He did what any businessman would do. Let's not talk about what Trump's children have done. The Trump children have stole billions of dollars from the United States and then have made billions of dollars from other countries. Okay. So let's not talk about what your name will get you and what you do with it when you get it. But he has not committed any crimes. They are trying to convict him of having a gun because he was doing drugs. Good luck with that. Okay. Did he fail a drug test before he filed for his gun? No. So prove that he did something wrong. Did he file his taxes late and pay the penalty for it? Yes, he did. Okay. So the IRS, the officers who did media about his personal taxes are now being sued along with the IRS for revealing confidential information from a private citizen. Rudy Giuliani is being sued for revealing his personal data that he released out to people that are now using that data to try and bring charges against Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, the president's son, a businessman in the country. So now you want to persecute him? I applaud him for fighting back. I mean, you can't keep poking him with a hot cattle prod and don't expect him to jump back and say, "Hey, enough is enough. Let's start putting some other folks on the hot seat. You want me? Well, I'll come for a battle." I applaud him for fighting back. That's what you're supposed to do. Fight back. When somebody come for you, you're supposed to turn around and come back for them. Now, another civil case that has hit the news just on yesterday, the judge in New York City found Trump and two of his sons guilty of fraud on a civil case in New York City. The judge said, "I don't need to see no more evidence. It's a lie. Everything he did was a lie, and he's guilty." So he's going to go to trial next week. All of his businesses are no longer able to operate in New York City. They're going to take all his properties that he claims that he owns and put in receivership because they are going to fine them millions, if not billions of dollars in penalties over everything that they have done and the falseness that they have done in New York City. Now, just imagine if all of the cities that Trump made money off of began to do the exact same thing, that would bring his empire to a crumble and a dead stop immediately because they can take control of all of his properties everywhere that he has lied. And they prove that it's a lie. Now, keep in mind, Trump still has felony charges in New York City about his business, and all of his racketeering that he had going in New York City. That is yet to hit the fan yet. So this guy, he wanted to be president so bad, but he wanted to be president forever so that nobody could ever come after him. Well, that didn't happen. So once he wasn't president no more, guess what? His behind is totally exposed, and they now have access to him, his records, and everything they need in order to prosecute him. So stand by on how much the fines are going to be when the judge finally makes a decision. So that's two of his sons and Donald Trump found guilty, civil lawsuit. Okay, he gonna run out of money in a minute. I'm trying to tell you. Oh my God. Did I mention the fact that McCarthy may have to step down as the Speaker of the House because his own party is asking him to step down? Did I mention that? I forgot to mention that when I talked about McCarthy. So we got to stand by and keep an eye on that. You know, the hard right is his worst nightmare. Okay. Let's talk about uh, the fact that the president supported the UAW this week. Now, no president, no sitting president has ever came out to support striking union. Now, the president brought up some very important facts. The fact that all of the automakers took a bailout. And when they took the bailout, they asked the workers to take pay cuts and to also step down in some of the demands that were part of their contract. And the workers did. Now, the workers are asking for some of those concessions back since all of the wealthy owners and board of directors are doing so well. It's time to give back to the workers. And they don't want to. They don't want to share the wealth. They want to keep the wealth. And the president did something that was so unprecedented. He went out and joined them on the picket line to say, hey, I support what you are doing. Now that speaks volume. Now the president is about the people, the working people. He mentioned the middle class, and I, for one, don't think the middle class still exists. But I think that the opportunity for people to make a decent wage to be able to take care of their families is something that we should be working towards and working for. I give the president 2 thumbs up for joining the people on the picket line to help support what they are doing, trying to make a decent wage. One of the union representatives said, look, we can't even afford to buy the cars that we're making. Now that's deep. And at one time in this country, the auto workers were some of the highest paid workers in this country. So all of those people that have been trying to break unions and not pay a fair wage or a decent wage now is coming to the surface. We got an agreement that is tentatively on the table for the script writers. SAG has came out and said, yes, we've got an agreement, and that strike will soon be over. They're looking for all of these wealthy, rich bureaucrats to start giving up some of that money they're sitting on and give it to the people that help make them rich. That you cannot deny. Some of the people that have made them rich need to be taken care of. It's about time. Spread the wealth. You know, I heard a preacher say one time, if all of the wealth of the wealthy was shared with everybody in this country, we would have more millionaires in this country than any other. And as an example, you can look at uh, United Arab Republic, the Arab nation. They have more millionaires over there than most countries because they share the wealth. We have examples ahead of us. Let me see what else did I have to talk about right quick. We want to get out of here. We don't want to stay with you guys. The debate is tonight. The Republican debate is going to be coming on tonight. So you all watch with a discerning eye to see what person that will come out of this on top. Well, my closing message for today, comment for today, and message for today is I want to talk about staying woke. The Republican Party has tried to make staying woke a very negative and a very, bad thing. But I encourage people to stay woke. I want you to stay woke because you need to fact check the bullshit that people are saying to us and expect us to follow wholeheartedly without giving us any truth to go along with it. The Republicans and the Democrats tell us things that we're supposed to believe just because they said it. But I encourage you to stay woke. Don't let this political climate that we are in discourage you from looking at the facts and understanding what's going on. So stay woke. Fact check everything. Check it out. Do some research. Fact check everything. Now, I want to encourage you guys to go over to um, streetnewsnow.com. And if you're interested in having a show here, please go over there and check out the application, fill it out, send it back in, and allow somebody from our administrative team to help walk you through the process of getting a show on Street News Now. We have plenty of time slots available. Please go over there, check out what's going on with the application, and someone will get back in touch with you, and we'll be glad to help you put your show together on this network. Also, I want you to subscribe, like, and share. Please subscribe, like, and share. Share the information, share it with everybody that you run across. We need your support. So thank you so very much. You all be safe out there, be careful, and hey, continue to be smart about it. Stay woke. Love you. Take care. Peace.